Oh boy, okay. Bob the science guy. Bobby. I hope we can be a bit more cordial than Roundhound that always gets owned.
Well, good morning, Angel. How are you today?
Not bad.
And rising.
So let's get straight to the point. Let's talk about Coriolis.
Okay.
If I'm on the merry-go-round that spins once and I throw a ball, it deviates, right?
Mm-hmm.
How come that doesn't happen on the Earth?
Why do you think it doesn't?
But wait, when I'm at the equator, does the ball fly sideways when I throw it?
Depends on which way you throw it. Yeah.
If I throw it north, will it fly sideways 460 meters in 1 second?
Okay. On the equator itself?
Yeah. If I face north on the equator and I throw a ball in front of me,
Yep.
does it fly sideways at 460 meters for every second?
Why would it fly that fast? It curves to the right, but when you're throwing
How
a ball,
fast
you're
does
not
the how
talking
fast
very
does the
much
Earth
curve.
rotate in 1 second in your model of the equator?
Oh, it's 1 degree a day, or excuse me, it's one rotation a day.
And how
About
much
15 degrees
and
an hour.
how much miles per hour does it spin in an hour?
It depends on your latitude. The
On the
linear
equator.
speed at the equator would be about 1,038 miles an hour.
That's 460 meters a second. Did you know that?
Okay. So
So if I throw a ball at the equator north, does it fly sideways 460 meters like it does in the merry-go-round?
no, of course not.
Why
Nor
not?
does it do it on a merry-go-round.
Yes, it does. It deviates off a merry-go-round. Of course it does.
It deviates. It doesn't stop.
Deviates.
It doesn't lose all of its inertia as soon as you immediately let
So
it go.
does the ball deviate at the equator?
Yes, it would.
Really? I can throw a ball in front of me and it's going to deviate sideways.
It curves to the right. Yes.
Are you joking?
No.
How much does it deviate?
Oh, tiny, tiny, tiny little
Why is it a
amount.
tiny bit when the Earth is moved 460 meters in 1 second? What if I
Well,
throw it for
first of
3
all, the
seconds? in
ball
the air?
when it's in your hand, the ball when it's in your hand is already moving at that speed, and the deviation would be the difference between the speed of the equator and the speed of wherever the ball ended up over the time it takes for
So
the
if
ball
we
to get there.
see if we hover a helicopter, how come the helicopter doesn't deviate?
Why would it?
Sideways.
It's under control and it's over a specific spot on the earth.
If we hover a drone over a spinning merry-go-round, the merry-go-round moves underneath the drone, right?
Okay, but the drone is not got the inertia of the merry-go-round.
Why not?
So it didn't start off with the inertia. It
does
didn't start off moving.
does the
And it
helicopter
doesn't-
have the inertia of the ground?
Yes, of course.
Really? So
Yeah, of course.
if I fly a plane and land on a north to south runway, I'm going to chase the runway sideways.
Why would you do that? Why do you
Well,
think
planes
that
planes
occurs?
don't account for rotation.
You're already going at the same rotational speed of the Earth at that point. So your speed relative to the runway is zero.
Right. So in other words, the Earth can be treated as stationary, right?
No,
Why
the
not?
Earth is not stationary.
How do you know that?
If you look at the relationship or the relative speed of the surface of the Earth and the surface of the plane, they're the same.
Yeah. So if I fly a plane against the rotation of the Earth,
Uh-huh.
sorry, and
Yeah, what about it?
we set the plane speed to be 500 miles per hour.
That's over the ground, yes.
Yeah. Does it move? Does it get pulled back 1,000 miles per hour now?
Why on earth would it do that? It's already going
You're
along.
saying the
speed of
hovering
ground.
helicopter tags along with the atmosphere.
The atmosphere tags along with the surface, and the helicopter's with it. It also has the
Right. So
initial.
how come the
Question.
helicopter goes sideways with the Earth perfectly, so it just looks stationary because it's tagging along with the atmosphere, right?
Correct.
So you said it as if it goes higher in altitude, it still tags along the same, right? Does it still appear stationary
much,
to
yep.
us?
Yep.
What causes? But at a greater height, you'd agree that's a greater radius.
Yes.
So what causes the atmosphere to magically just tag along with the Earth like that? What force causes that?
It's called friction. And
If
it
I
doesn't
wave-
tag
if I
along.
wave-
It doesn't
hang on.
tag along one to one. It
If I
doesn't
wave
tag
my
along.
hand
It
here,
does lag a little
if I-
bit. For
hang on,
example,
hang on.
for
You said
example,
friction.
at 100 miles above the surface, the atmosphere would lag behind about 25 miles an hour.
So if I wave my hand here, the whole room doesn't start just waving air everywhere. You agree, right?
No, the air around your hand does, though. That's why you can fan yourself.
So, but you just said friction. So how come the friction of my hand doesn't make the whole room windy?
It does move air,
But
and it's based on friction. Yes.
why would the fan that's pointing, say, straight, why would the air next to it start to move? It doesn't. It never will.
Well, yeah, it will, because
On the
the
side.
air that you're blowing out of the fan will cause air next to it. It's not like a tube of air coming out in isolation. It's attached to the air next to it, and as the tube of air goes out, it'll start dragging the air around it with it.
So you're saying you can set up a fan in the middle of your room? So wait, so the fan's going to start moving the air beside it, up above it, all in the room.
Yep.
Wow.
Have you ever tried it?
Yeah, it doesn't happen.
Okay,
I've
how
had
did you
a fan
try
on
it?
for hours in the room.
How did you test
the whole air doesn't get windy.
So it didn't set up
doesn't-
a
it doesn't-
circulation in the room at all.
The friction of the fan is not equal around the whole room. It doesn't equate.
Of course not. It drops off the farther away you get from it, just like the atmosphere does.
Does it?
Yep.
So it's not magic. So if we keep going up in altitude with the helicopter, it's going to deviate sideways. What you're saying?
Well, it depends on how high you go. If you go up 100 miles, you would have the appearance that it would be drifting at 25 miles an hour over the ground.
So you're saying the atmosphere is tethered to the Earth, right? In a
Yes, by
rotation, right?
friction.
How come clouds move in all directions?
What do you mean they don't move in all directions?
I've seen clouds move east. I've seen them move west. I've seen them move
At
north.
the same time?
I've seen
Do they
them at
move
different
with the wind?
times. If
Okay, well, they move with the wind.
you're saying the Earth rotates in one direction, though, right?
Yeah, but the wind moves in many different directions. The wind
Right.
has to do with high and low pressure, not so much the rotation.
Exactly.
Some rotation, but
So
mostly
Ranhan was wrong when he said Coriolis had to do with wind.
it does have to do with wind. Yeah,
So I just want going back to the Coriolis. Okay.
sure.
We throw a ball at the equator. It's not going to deviate sideways
Who told you that?
because you can literally throw a ball and it's not going to do it.
Okay, do you think you're going to see the deviation in the range that you throw a ball? A few feet at
But
full
hang
speed?
on.
Do it with an auxiliary shell.
Yeah, hang on. Distance isn't in Coriolis formula.
No, the deviation is in Coriolis. Your ability to measure that deviation is related to distance. Yes.
So, but if I throw a bullet, if I shoot a gun north, it's not going to deviate sideways 460 meters.
You sure about that?
It's not going to deviate sideways 460 meters because of the rotation.
It doesn't need to deviate 468 meters. You have to have the time of flight of the bullet. So if you fire a 308 round about 1,000 miles due north, the deviation is going to be on the order of just 2 to 4 centimeters. I calculated it once. I don't have it right off the top of my
So
head.
do planes account for rotation of Earth?
Yes.
How much?
Well, the way a plane
hang on. You think a plane flying is going to account for that?
Yes.
Like they might for wind, maybe not for a spin of the Earth.
Well, the wind is going to be a much greater factor than the spin of the Earth is. But the way that you account for it, are you familiar with vector addition?
Vector addition, no.
Okay, well, let me explain it to you then. If you look at a grid that is north, south, east, west, okay? Now, if you go straight north, all of your speed is going straight north. If you deviate a little bit to the northwest, some of your speed is going to the north and some of your speed is going to the west. Does that make sense to you?
Well, on a spinning object, yeah, okay.
Okay. No, on any object. That's just simple vector addition. It works on a flat plane too. So what happens is to maintain your course over your flight path, that little magenta line, if you're being blown or moved from left to right, you have to deviate back a little bit to the left to stay on course. That little bit of deviation, second by second, increases your speed to the west. And as a result, when you're going north, you're constantly kind of leaning a little bit towards the west to stay on course. And that little leaning accounts for the Coriolis effect, which would normally blow you up or make you move off course to the east, because you were
So
already
in other
moving.
words, a helicopter hovering a meter above the Earth doesn't experience Coriolis, right?
No, of course not. It's not moving.
It's tethered to the Earth. It's tethered to the atmosphere.
No, it's not moving. In order to have Coriolis, you have to have
So
displacement.
the Earth
across
doesn't
the-
rotate underneath the helicopter.
Of course not,
Why not?
because the helicopter is rotating at the same speed of the Earth. It's
As
not
the-
moving relative
what's
to the ground. Why
How's
don't you
how's it
understand
tethered to the
relative
Earth?
speed?
Though? How's it tethered to the Earth like that?
Well, it starts on the ground and it's moving with the Earth. As it comes
How?
up, it still has that inertia,
How does it have that inertia?
because that's how inertia works. If your object, first of all,
resistance to-
motion,
hang
an
on.
object in motion will remain in motion unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. There's no unbalanced force acting on it.
Right. So why? What? What? So inertia
you
is
can do it,
resistance
man.
to force, right?
Inertia is resistance to change, not force. Yeah, change. So an object that's in motion will remain in motion.
So if we
To
hover,
change that, you have to apply a force to it. That's where you're getting the force
so it's
from.
equally as valid for me to just say that the Earth is stationary relative to the helicopter, right?
How would the helicopter know the difference?
They wouldn't. That's my point.
Okay.
It's equally as valid for me to say that the Earth is just stationary relative to the helicopter.
It would work with a stationary Earth relative to the helicopter hovering, but that doesn't prove that the Earth is stationary. You still have
So
to do that.
so if we flew a plane with the rotation of the Earth,
Yep.
but we set the plane speed at 500 miles per hour, does it moonwalk backwards because it's going slower than the rotation?
Why would it? I told you it's relative to the surface of the Earth. So it's moving
Right.
across
So
the
it's-
surface of the Earth at 500 miles an hour. The rotation doesn't have anything to do with it.
So it's equally as valid for me to just say that the Earth is stationary then.
There are other clues that you can look for in a moving aircraft that will tell you
Right.
otherwise. The Utvos effect, for example.
The what?
The Utvos effect.
Which is?
As planes move with the rotation, objects in the plane become slightly lighter. And
Wow.
if they move against the rotation, objects become slightly heavier. And that
Okay,
is a
so-
measurable effect.
So, but in relation to the ground, it's equally as valid for me to say the Earth is stationary.
Since the object is moving relative to the ground, you can't tell if it's moving or not moving.
Right, so now if we spin the Earth, we do a 180 with the plane, right? Go against the rotation at same speed, 500
Yep.
miles per hour.
Yep.
Does it move faster? Because now the rotation.
What did I just say? What did I just say?
Let me get my point out. So the rotation of the Earth's coming towards you now 1,000 miles per hour, but the plane still goes like the Earth is stationary, right? So then
That
it's
as soon as
equally
you
as
leave the
valid.
Earth, the plane suddenly stops.
So then it's
and the
equally
Earth
as
moves
valid for me to
underneath it.
just say the plane flies like it's
You
stationary.
can't make that connection. That the plane
Yes, I
does
can.
not suddenly stop as soon as it leaves the Earth. It doesn't lose its inertia. It's still
Right, but when
moving
you're
with
flying
the
against the
rotation.
rotation, now it should be working for you.
Okay, is it changing its relative position to the surface
It's
of
on
the
the
Earth?
equator and it's flying against the rotation.
Does
now
it
the Earth is-
change its relative speed
No.
in
it's just
relation
flying-
to the
it's flying-
surface of the Earth? It
It's
does
flying
not.
500 miles per hour.
In relationship to the surface of the
Yes.
Earth, not the rotation. It doesn't have anything to do with rotation. It already has
saying,
that
I'm saying the
movement from
plane
rotation.
speed. I'm saying the plane speed is 500 miles per hour in the air. It's flying
And I've
that
already,
fast.
yep.
Against the rotation.
Okay.
Does the plane get to its destination faster, 1,000 miles per hour? Because now the Earth is moving towards you.
So
So
I'm
the
not
answer is
gonna-
no, right? It
again,
doesn't.
don't need to-
It's equally as valid for me to say the Earth is just stationary, the plane's just flying. Relative
Considering
to
the plane is moving relative to the surface,
yeah,
you can look at it either way. However,
Right.
there are things that you still have to demonstrate which way it is. And I've already
Yeah.
demonstrated that it's moving, it's
So
rotating.
when we land the plane on the north to south runway on the equator, where the Earth spins 460 meters in 1 second, the plane doesn't chase the runway sideways.
Doesn't need to, because it's moving relative to the surface of the Earth. That's already been explained to you a number of times. Why are you not getting it?
So it's equally as valid for me to say the Earth is stationary then in that instance, right?
No, it's valid for you to say you can't tell one way or the other from that situation. There are other ways.
It's equally as valid for me to just say the plane is flying and it's landing on a stationary land. Planes don't fly like the Earth is curved and rotating, though.
You sure about that?
Yeah, I can show you documents.
Go ahead.
It's on NASA's thing.
Show it to me.
I really don't want to have to get up and my computer.
I have it too.
If you're trying to play the little game with the 1987 NASA document about flat and stationary
There's many of them.
It's a computer model, not an actual aircraft model.
There are many of them.
That's already been explained many times. I don't need to go over it again.
Yeah, so it's equally valid for us to just say the plane flies over a stationary Earth, right?
No.
If you say no to that,
you can tell the difference.
How can you tell if you're not taking it into account?
Excuse me?
How can you tell that the Earth is rotating if you're not taking it into account at all?
You do take it into account.
How?
Because because you cherry picked a NASA document from the 80s.
How do you take it into account?
Doesn't mean that NASA or anybody else thinks that
chill out. How do you take it into account when you just said you don't chase the runway sideways? You fly the plane like the plane just flies 500 miles per hour that way, east to west, and it flies 500 miles per hour to go in the opposite direction.
What I very clearly stated was that is not a test of either the rotation or the shape of the Earth. Although landing a plane on instrument landing does require taking the radius of the Earth into account, because that's the way the instrument approach is designed.
Rotation.
So when it comes to the flight of descent, do you have to compensate for curvature?
No.
You don't?
Nope.
Okay. So whenever you land like east to west, if you're landing east and then if you're landing west,
right,
would you have to like slow down or speed up due to Earth's motion?
No.
No?
Nope.
So
Earth's motion has nothing to do with it.
So we don't compensate for the curvature whenever we're landing.
We don't do anything
and
with
then
curvature.
we don't do anything when it comes to the motion of Earth.
Curvature is...
So Earth has to be a level stationary plane, right?
fairly yeah,
What effect do you think you would have to take for rotation?
You wouldn't have to. That's what I'm saying.
So if you wouldn't have to take into account rotation, why is that a test of rotation?
Because it doesn't, it's equally, as I'm saying, it's equally as valid for me to just say the Earth is not rotating. End of story. It doesn't take it into account.
It's also equally valid to say this isn't a test of rotation, so we don't know.
Okay. So how come planes fly like the Earth is flat then? They
don't.
Yes, they do.
Who told you that?
I've spoken to pilots like...
I am a pilot. You're speaking to one right now. Tell me how often
do you adjust
into account
how often do you dip the nose down to account for curvature?
Why would you dip the nose down? That was the very first video that I put out as a pilot in 2018 as to why planes don't have to dip their nose.
Does your gyroscope keep rigidity in space?
What gyroscope? You mean my heading indicator? Yes.
Right. So if you level it to the ground that you're taking off from, right?
Well, it starts there. Yes, you have to readjust it every 15 minutes due to your movement across the surface of the Earth and gyroscopic precession.
You don't need it, but you don't need to dip the nose of the plane down, like you just said, right?
Why on earth would you?
Because if you're flying on a ball and you always fly straight, and actually pilots fly with their nose slightly up to maintain altitude, right?
Correct.
If you never dip the nose down, you'll end up in space.
Why on earth would you think that? Why would you think? Now, let's just go ahead and take that and continue it on.
Okay, I'll show you.
If I were to end up in space now, and you say, quote unquote, I fly straight.
I'll show you.
No, you don't need to show me. I'm telling you. So if you fly
tell me all you want, but
laser, you're going to gain in altitude as you go across the ground because you're flying straight.
Yeah, but you never dip the nose down, right?
However, you don't fly straight. You fly at a pressure altitude above the surface, and whether that surface is curved or flat, it doesn't matter.
But you never
You're
dip the nose
flying a
down,
set
right?
distance.
But what I'm trying to say
So
is you
flying a
never dip
set
the nose down.
altitude above the ground does not change whether it's flat or spherical.
Well, it does, because if you're flying over
Why?
a globe,
Why would 40,000 feet above a sphere be any different than 40,000 feet above a flat plane?
because if you're flying over a globe, you'll end up in space. I'll show you. 1 second.
Yeah, that's a basic misunderstanding that you have. You see that
It's
red
basic.
line right there? That is a level line to the surface of the Earth. It's the same elevation or altitude above the surface.
Can you define
Follow
flat
that
real
line.
quick? Can you define flat?
Flat is on a geometric plane. Can you define level?
Yeah, straight,
No.
horizontal.
Nope.
Oh, really?
Level is equal elevation above a surface.
Oh, really?
So
That's not what I
if
read.
an object is 5 feet above the surface and you have a
Wait,
whole field of
that's
objects
flat?
that are 5 feet above the surface, they are level to each other.
Hang on, did you say that was flat? The definition of flat?
Flat is a plane. It's a line on a plane.
See the diagram that my Rakir's got up? If
Yes.
you're flying a plane perfectly straight and level, you're saying you never dip the nose down. Why would you not end up in space?
Because you'd follow the red line. You're flying level, the same elevation
No.
above the ground.
Right, so then the plane's nose dips down.
Not relative to the ground, no.
So then you fly up in space.
Good Lord, the level
It's very,
of
like, I don't know if you're being
you have is
deceitful here,
amazing.
because this is like really basic, dude.
Yeah,
You-
I know.
First
I'm
you said,
surprised that you don't get it.
first you said,
Planes do not fly straight like a laser. Planes fly at an altitude above the ground, and if
Right.
the ground is curving underneath it, that altitude.
hang on.
It's
So
curving.
what if the ground is not curving and it's just flying straight and level, like you just said? It's equally as valid for me to just say that the Earth is flat and you're flying flat over a flat plane,
It's
right?
not a test of flat versus
Why?
curve. It's a test of is it at the same altitude or not.
You'll gain
Level is
altitude. Hey,
defined
wait,
at the same altitude.
when you shoot a radar that bounces and it goes really far and it bounces off the ionosphere, that radar signal's gaining altitude, right? At
Yes.
horizontal,
Yes.
right? How come the
And
plane
that's
going
not how
straight?
planes fly.
How come the plane going straight doesn't end up doing the same thing?
Because the radar goes in a straight beam, whereas the plane maintains an altitude above sea
You
level.
can't be serious. You're not a
I
pilot.
am serious. That's why
on,
you
dude.
have radar shadows.
So you're telling
That's
hang
why
on.
you can fly under the radar.
You're telling me your plane noses down without you knowing.
I'm saying the plane maintains an altitude and follows whatever.
No.
that
Answer
altitude
my
is above the
question.
ground.
In order to make that red line over the globe there, you have to curve the line, right, to draw it, yeah?
All right, turn the globe sideways and
No.
tell me whether
Hang on.
plane that's
Answer the
directly
question. It's a
above-
very simple question. The red line. in
Okay,
order
the simple
to draw that
answer is
red
no.
line,
You don't. It's not.
you
Dipping
don't have to
its nose.
draw. You don't have to draw a curve. Are you joking?
No, I'm not. It's just basic
Wow.
geometry and spatial awareness.
Wow.
So
So
if you
you're
look at that plane that's over there at the right side. Now hold it up. Now turn it so that the ground is directly underneath it. Tell me whether or not that plane is going down or up. It's
What?
staying the same.
so you're saying
It's in
you
level
don't.
flight.
So you're saying you don't need to draw a curved line,
You are drawing a curved line. It's
but then the
the same
plane goes.
distance
But
above
then
the
the plane.
surface of the Earth.
You're right. So the plane is nosing down without you knowing.
The plane is maintaining a height above the ground. It's not
Holy
nosing
shit.
down relative to the ground. It's nosing
Buddy,
up.
in order to fly around a globe and to go all the way around it, you need to draw a curved line around the globe,
Correct.
which means you have to nose down.
Not
Otherwise, you end up in
relative to the ground,
space.
you don't.
Holy
You're not
shit.
looking at this from the moon. You're
Oh my
looking at it
gosh.
from the ground.
It doesn't
You do
matter.
not have to dip your nose to go around the curve because you're not changing altitude.
Just tell me one more time. Does the plane's nose dip down? Yes or no?
No.
Holy shit. So it's equally as valid for me to just say if the Earth was flat and you're flying over a flat plane that you don't nose down, you're flying.
Not
it
a
would be the
test
same
of
thing, right?
flatness or sphericity.
It would be the same thing, right?
It's not a test of that.
It would be
It's
the
not
same
testing
thing.
for
No,
it.
no.
You're testing whether or not it's
Hang on.
maintaining
It would
an
be
altitude.
it would be equally as valid for me to just say the plane flies flat over a flat.
You're not making
flat
any
Earth.
statement about the shape of the ground. You're simply
Yes, I am.
making a statement
It's
that it's
equally as
maintaining an
valid.
altitude above the ground.
Bob, chill. It's equally
I
as
am chill.
valid. Okay,
But
it's
if you
equally as
continue to
valid.
interrupt my answers,
I'm trying to
we're
say
gonna be
something
done with
for
this
like the last 5
conversation.
seconds. You're not letting me. It's equally as valid for me to just say the plane flies over a flat surface.
It could be equally valid to say anything because you're not testing for it.
Holy shit. But if you're
You're not
flying
testing
flat
for the
over a
shape of the
globe,
Earth.
you end up in space. It's so simple, dude.
To you, maybe,
Yeah,
because
it's
you
so
don't
simple.
understand
It's so
what you're
simple.
talking about. But
I
those of
do.
us
I do very
who know the
clearly. And
difference
every time you'll end up in
between
space,
flat and level, do know the difference.
hence the plane dips its nose. So you're saying that the plane doesn't dip its nose down, yet it does,
No.
but you're not aware of it.
It's flying the same altitude above the ground. It doesn't care what the shape of the ground is.
Right. So if it's flying over a globe, how come it doesn't gain altitude
Why
over a
would
long
it?
distance? Because
It's
it's
maintaining
not nosing,
altitude by definition. That's what level is.
but it's not nosing the nose down.
Doesn't need to.
But then
Just
it will end up in
maintain
space.
altitude.
Can you do you see the drawing, dude?
Yeah, I know.
What's wrong with it? What's wrong with it?
That's a 2016 drawing from
What's
somebody
wrong? So what's wrong with it?
that has no idea
What's
what they're
wrong?
talking about.
But the thing is, pilots don't account for curvature, like you just said.
What makes you think that?
So when it comes to the flight of descent, do you have to compensate for curvature?
No.
You don't?
Nope.
Okay. So whenever you land like east to west, if you're landing east and then if you're landing west,
Right.
would you have to like slow down or speed up due to Earth's motion?
No.
No?
Nope.
So we
Earth's
don't,
motion has nothing to do with it.
so we don't compensate for the curvature whenever we're landing.
We don't do anything
and
with
then we
curvature.
don't do anything when it comes to the motion of Earth.
Curvature is
So Earth has to be a level stationary plane, right?
fairly. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So it's equally as valid for me to just say it flies over a flat surface. Flat
It's
Earth.
not testing for it one way or the
Okay,
other.
let's say we're testing for it. It's equally.
You're not testing for it.
Let's say we're testing for it. It's equally as valid for me to say that the plane flies over a flat Earth.
Okay, if you are testing for it specifically, how would you test for it?
You
With
would
an airplane.
so the way you fly, like you just said, you level the gyroscope to the ground, and then you fly, right?
Okay.
And then
That's
you
the
land,
gyroscope is just for the heading.
and then
It
hang
has
on,
nothing to do
and
with,
then the gyroscope never processes downwards. The nose of the plane's not ever going down; it's actually up, right, to maintain altitude. You don't nose the plane down. What plane did you fly?
That's not important.
Yeah, because I don't think you're a pilot.
That's fine with you.
Because
Good for you.
if you can't admit that if you just keep your heading on east, and then you'd end up south if you don't keep your heading on it, then I don't believe that you're a pilot.
If you're following the line of latitude, you follow the line of latitude, which is always east.
Yeah, but if you let's say you put your heading east and then make a marker where east is, but follow the marker not east, you'll end up south.
Okay,
if you
that's
just
not
keep going.
following a heading of east. You're going to drift to the south.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You'll drift
Yeah,
to the
but you're
south
not following east. You start
Yeah, that's
off
what I'm saying.
east and then cover up your compass and just go that same direction. You're not going to be heading east for long.
Yeah,
You're
would
gonna
that
start
happen?
heading
Would that
south.
happen on the equator?
No, why would it?
Because Earth's flat.
Actually, on the Gleason map, if you were to
flat.
start going east as you describe on the equator, you would immediately enter the southern hemisphere and go to the ice wall.
No, you would just follow east. You adjust.
No, look at it.
You would just adjust
Because
for
it's
east.
a circle, you'd be flying a tangent.
Hang on, is east and west
following
circles?
the latitude line from east to west.
On the
Oh, wait,
Gleason
Bob.
map, it's a circle, and you'd be flying a easterly tangent on that circle, which will take you straight out to the ice
Hang
wall.
on, is east to west
Every
circles, Bob?
In reality or on the flat Earth?
In reality.
In reality, east and west are circles. Yes, they're lines of latitude.
Right, so if you maintain east, you're doing a circle around the Earth, right?
Around the sphere, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, ask in reality or on a flat Earth? On a flat Earth,
Oh, wait a minute. I don't get on panels with this guy.
are east and west
You have to
circles?
leave or I leave.
Shut up, crybaby. Are east and
bye-bye.
west circles on a flat Earth?
Yeah, I know you're scared, Bob. Bob, I don't believe
No,
you're
I
a
don't
pilot,
go
by the
on.
way. I'm
I don't
sorry.
go on panels with guys that molest children.
Bye.
Bye,
Okay, see ya, Bob. See ya.
She spent 7 months in court for felony sex crimes, and I'll tell everyone about it. And I got the
I know
articles
about that,
too, if
Bob,
anyone
too,
wants to
so,
message
yeah.
me.
See ya, Bob.
Yeah. Later, Bob. We'll see you later, Bob. You crybaby Bob.
Dude, there's no way he's a pilot, man. With what he said. No way.
He's an absolute moron, dude.
He's so, like, there's no way. He
I
couldn't,
love how
I couldn't believe, Rakia, I couldn't believe you had that diagram up with the the plane going into space, and he just couldn't get it. He doesn't even realize on a globe, because the north and south meet at the poles, you're actually turning anyway. He doesn't even realize that. I don't believe he's a pilot. There's no way he's a pilot.
There's no way.
Yeah, good debate, host. Was awesome.
Angel, nice job, sir.
Thank you.
Angel is a legend.
I do have an interesting story for you guys. So the first time, like after the first couple months, I figured out the Earth was flat. I ended up taking a flight from Raleigh, North Carolina, down to Tampa, Florida. And as I'm waiting in the airport at a Popeye's chicken place, I'm having breakfast, and this pilot comes down and sits next to me. He's probably in his 60s. And I was like, oh, this is about to be an interesting conversation. So I kind of break the ice, ask him about his career. He started out in the Air Force, retired, then went commercial pilot. And then after about a couple minutes of conversation, I asked him, I said, so how long have you known the Earth's flat? He kind of looked at me and smiled, and he said, about 42 years. I said, really? Is that how long you've been flying? He said, sure is. So for 42 years, this pilot knew the whole damn time.
Yeah. Did you guys see where Bob said? He said the red line around the globe is a straight line.
There are no globe, bro. Like, how pathetic is that?
See the red line that's going around the? He said that's not curving. I go to him. Do you have to draw a curve around that? He's like, no.
It's lunacy, man. To think for anyone to get in a plane and sit there and look out the sky and look out a window for 3 or 4 hours and sit there and think you're flying around the ball. It's lunacy.
Yeah, dude.
And you don't feel it when you dip down.
No,
Oh, yeah.
the wings never adjust. You just fly in a level, flat line at altitude until you're ready to descend to your destination, and then you start descending and land. The Earth is not moving, and the plane is flying at altitude. That's it. It might make adjustments here and there if you're going over a mountain range, or if you have to go up or down to move away from a storm or something like that. But that's it.
Dude,
There's no curvature.
What's hilarious
When
to
you
me?
have a
What is hilarious to me is that when I said it's equally valid for me to just say we're flying over a flat Earth, he couldn't say yes. Like,
Because Bob is dishonest, okay? My dad had a Cessna. He sold it a few years back, but he had a Cessna for years. He's got his pilot license. And I went on many rides with him, and we've flown from Ottawa to Gaspésie, which is 1,200 kilometers away. And you always have to adjust for east and west, or you will be going south and you'll just miss Gaspésie completely. So
yeah.
so I don't know what the heck he's talking about. And you never adjust for curvature either. Man, I've flown like really low as you're allowed to go, over like rivers and stuff, and never do you account for curvature. And over 1,200 miles, there's a shit ton of curvature.
Anyway, Masters of the Air is about the B-24 Liberators and when they drop bombs on the, those bad people during World War II. Okay. During these missions that they did, these raids that they did, they were roughly flying at about anywhere from 10 to 15,000 feet up. Usually, sometimes 15 to 20,000 feet. I think because anything below 10,000, they were allowed to take their mask off. So this is what my grandfather did when he was age 18 to age 21. Okay. And he told me many stories about it. He was the first person to tell me that the Earth was flat. This is 20 some years ago. And I just kind of laughed at him and walked out of the room because I didn't think he was being I thought he was ridiculous. Come to find out, he was correct. But this movie, Masters of the Air, when these guys go on these bombing runs, okay, and they're 15 to 20,000 feet up, if you think logically about this, and they say that the Earth is spinning and whatever else, once these bombardiers take over control of the plane to find the target that's down below, if they drop the bomb, it takes about 30 seconds of the bomb being in the air to reach its target on the ground. You guys following me? So if the Coriolis effect was a thing, wouldn't the Earth be spinning while the bomb was in the air? Yes or no? Yes?
By the way, Bob said.
So how would the bomb hit its target if the Earth is spinning?
By the way, Bob said 1,000 miles, like a projectile goes, it would deviate 2 centimeters.
I don't know.
It's a joke.
You guys should check out that show though, Masters of the Air. It's amazing. If you have Apple TV.
Of the Earth.
Masters of the Air is what it's called. Yeah, Masters of the Air. If you've seen like Saving Private Ryan or The Pacific or who else? What else is that show about? Band of Brothers. It's kind of all the same. The same people that produced those produced Masters of the Air. Very, very good.
Don't waste any more time. Visit the links above now and order my book 16 Emergency Landings Proving Flat Earth. Visit my online store now and order the new enhanced Gleason's Flat Earth map. This map used to be in every school and library in the nation before NASA was created in 1958, when the maps were ordered removed. Have your Gleason's map hanging on the wall in your house where no government can take it down. Here you see it hanging on a wall in the house of the late Charles K. Johnson. Here is a quote from the book 1984 by George Orwell. Every record has been destroyed or falsified, every book rewritten, every picture has been repainted, every statue and street building has been renamed, every date has been altered, and the process is continuing day by day and minute by minute. History has stopped. Order your map now.